Hello everyone, this is Isabel. I'm in Singapore. I'm at Submarine Networks World 2022. And today I'm joined by Tim Doiron. He's VP Marketing at Infinera. Tim, welcome to the hot seat.
It's great to be here, Isabel.
How was your conference so far?
It's been excellent. We've had a lot of traffic at our booth and a lot of really good customer meetings talking about the future of service providers' networks and how they can evolve.
So, Tim, there's a growing number of new subsea cables being announced, and everyone's talking about the explosion of the traffic. Where are we at with all of that?
Yeah, so if you look at telegeography, which does a pretty good job of tracking this industry, there's more than 400 submarine cables already deployed. And between 2022 and 2026, they're anticipating another 75 submarine cables to come online. When you think about the investment needed for that, where's that coming from and what's driving that investment? And the answer, of course, is capacity demand. And the capacity demand is coming from the need to connect data centers and people to different geographies all over the globe. And in fact, some numbers from telegeography and elsewhere suggest that we've been growing at about a 45% kind of demand increase every year. In fact, at Infinera, we actually conducted a primary research project in 2021 where we wanted to look forward about the traffic demand. And the responses we got back from service providers estimated that between now and through 2025, traffic demands in all segments of the network were growing from 39% to 45% throughout that cycle. From a service provider perspective, that translates directly into a need to double the network capacity every 2 years, which is a lot to keep up with.
So a lot about that is also the technology, I guess. You can put more subsea cable, in the sea, but you also can evolve the technology. So how is the technology evolving to support all that growth?
Yeah, so at the edges of the network, we need to light the fiber, if you will. And the devices that do that are transponders and optical engines. They transmit the signals or the wavelengths, and they receive those wavelengths. Those engines consist of a combination of analog optical front end and digital signal processing back end. And over the course of multiple generations of that technology, we've been able to shrink the power, improve the throughput and the baud rates to a point where today 100 gigabaud per second is possible and part of industry-leading products like our Infinera i6 Turbo that we're talking to customers about here.
Now you've mentioned Infinera, so obviously I'm going to go there. How do you fit into this equation?
Yeah, so Infinera is an industry-leading transponder and optical engine technology company. I mentioned previously the i6 Turbo. It is our 5th generation coherent optical engine. It delivers over 100 gigabaud of capacity per wavelength, which translates into, in many cases, 600 gigabit per wavelength over literally thousands of kilometers and 400 gig per wavelength almost anywhere you want to go. And that's really been possible with the evolutions of coherent and the Moore's law of digital signal processing and the miniaturization of optics, including photonic integrated circuits that Infinera does extremely well in our own fabrication facility. And so we'll see those technologies continue and continue to evolve to a point where over the next few years, we anticipate the industry and us moving to 140 gigabaud and 200 gigabaud down the road over the coming years.
I think that's really exciting stuff. So any other use cases you can, use your technology for?
Yeah, the primary use, of course, is optical transmission, but we have a pretty cool engagement going on with Google right now. And it turns out that our coherent optical engines have an ability to detect something called the state of polarization in the signal. And what happens is whenever that fiber optic cable is physically stressed, or think about shaken from a seismic event in the ocean, it can actually be detected because the state of polarization changes. So at Infinera, what we're doing is making that information available and streaming that information to the Google Cloud, as an example, where machine learning or AI algorithms can be applied so that you can detect where in the ocean that event happened. And you want to do that because you want to give coastal communities and villages an opportunity for early warning so that they can take action as appropriately needed to save lives and protect communities. And in Infinera, we call that technology for good.
What a way to end our interview. Technology for good. You've made me a happy woman, Tim.
It was great to be here, Isabel. And thanks so much for the discussion. I loved it. And being here in Singapore at Submarine Network World.
Thank you for a great interview and have a good continuation of your conference.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Everyone, thank you for watching and until the next hot shot.